Hey students, welcome to Learn Smarter and Remember Faster. So I'm again back with another video, and I'm sure that the previous video was of help. And definitely in this video, we are going to just go out with a session which we have started about cell. Okay, so today's video will be about cell. So in our last class, we have seen about what is a cell, and what is it said to be, and many more stuff. So I will definitely tell you to watch that video and then watch this video. I will definitely share the link over there, just under the description box. You can definitely go through that. Okay, so yeah, before begin, I will definitely say please do subscribe, like, and share. Okay, so let's see what is the topic. So it is definitely related to cell. Now let's see what is the topic. So we are going to start with cell theory today. Okay, let's see what we are going to learn about cell theory. So in our previous class, we have already seen what a cell is. How do we observe a cell under a microscope? How it looks like? What is the necessity of a cell? So this is the everything we have just learned about it in our previous video. But in this video, we will see like few of the theories which was being put forward by few of the scientists. Okay, so it is really important for you to know about it, because this is the the very basic things. Now if you will move forward for your future also, if you're going to take biology, if you're going to take any life sciences branch, whether it's zoology, botany, microbiology, biotechnology, biochemistry, bioinformatics, everything needs, you have to deal with cell. So it's a very basic thing and you have to know much better about it. So let's begin. So this is, we can see, is actually Matthias Claydon, and he was actually a German botanist. Okay. Now what he has done, what he has contributed. So he announced that every plant is made up of a large number of cells. Okay, he even added that each of these cells perform various life processes. So as I have already mentioned, that it is very much important for you to go and first watch the video about the cell which I have discussed. That is the name of the video, cell part 1. I will also share the link in the description box. So you really need to know about the cell. Okay, so over there, when you will see that video, you will find that I have talked about Antony van Leeuwenhoek. Okay, so he was a scientist who actually have seen the, I mean, like not Antony van Leeuwenhoek, it was actually Robert Hooke, who actually saw the cork cells. Okay, cork, like the dead cell of the plant, and he have seen very brick-like structures over there. So definitely, Matthias Claydon then confirming. So he, that was the observation of Robert Hooke. Now Matthias Claydon, the German botanist, actually was coming, like agreeing with what Robert Hooke has told us, right? That is, this Matthias Claydon announced that the plant is made up of a large number of cells. Since Robert Hooke has already put forward that yes, it is made up of different cells, but like one idea is not enough to believe, right? एक idea काफी नहीं होता. So people have to prove that whether is it true, something like this, right? Because if I simply give you an example of a very basic thing, that cannot like cancer. So what happened is that cancer is something, some kind of disease which is actually very detrimental. तो पहले जमाने में ये होता था कि अगर किसी को कैंसर होता है तो देयर इज अ लीस्ट प्रोबेबिलिटी ऑफ दैट पर्सन टू सर्वाइव. But आजकल के ज़माने में many scientists have like given just shown a thumbs up, and he has just challenged that no, they can still survive with the help of chemotherapy, right? So like that only, whenever you say something कि हाँ ऐसा होता है, whenever you try to publish that into the public, so then different scientists cross examine that, okay, that whether he's correct or not. अगर correct हुआ तो ठीक है, अगर नहीं हुआ, then they can come up with the actual theory. So exactly that has happened when Robert Hooke said that this is the stuff that is the cork. Whenever he has watched the cork under the microscope, he has seen that it is made up of many number of cells, right? So in that case, what happened is that Matthias Claren is the German botanist who actually announced that every plant is made up of a large number of cells, and he actually is agreeing. He even added that each of these cells perform various life processes. I have already mentioned in the previous video that a single cell, when comes together upon a certain arrangement, upon a certain structural processes, it is actually giving rise to tissues, right? A lot of tissues come together to form a organ, and a lot of organ assembled in their respective places, and they give rise to different organisms including human beings. Okay, so exactly why one of the, of course, means one of the cells should need to work so that other cell is also working. So he's just being added and is completely agreeing with him. But he was not enough. There was again another scientist. His name was Theodor Schwann. So what he did, he was actually a German zoologist. What he did, he is declared that all the animals and plants are composed of cells. Means he is also agreeing with what Robert Hooke has said. Okay, so German botanists said about, yes, plants are made up of. German zoologists are saying that animals and plants both are made up of cells. Okay, which serves as the unit of structure and function. So in the previous slide only, we have seen that if I talk about this German botanist, he is telling us about that each of these cells performed various life processes, right? This is what he is saying, right? And German zoologist is saying that which serve as the unit of structure and function. So again, I will suggest you to please go and watch my previous video, but there I have seen that why cell is being said to be as the structural and functional unit of life. Okay, so I have given a wonderful example. Something has been discussed over here, over there as well. So please try to watch that. So it will definitely give us clear idea. So again, German zoologists come to the same point, right? So in the previous slide, we have seen that he's telling that each and every aspect of life processes is being done by them. And over here, Theodor Schwann said he, all the plants and animals are composed of cells, and both they are actually providing, that means cells are actually providing the structure and function. Why structure? The point is that how it is showing the structure unit of life. As I have already said, that a lot of cell is forming a tissue, a lot of tissue is forming an organ, a lot of organ will give rise to an organism. So definitely the smallest structure is the cell, and therefore it is said to be the structural unit of life. And why function? Because each and every cell has its own function to perform, which you will learn in your higher classes. I will not just go like if I'm taking glucose, it is breaking down, it is giving me energy. Any kind of food I'm taking, everything is chemistry, everything is like a biochemical procedure. So you have to be like, yes, each and every cell is doing it. Right now, we are seeing at this point, like at this point, you are in class 9. So you are thinking that yes, human being is there. He is taking that food, he is having it, he is digesting it. But that is actually not the case. Okay, when you will be going for higher studies, if you want to take life sciences, you will be coming to know that that is not enough. Okay, so he is having the food, he is not himself is digesting the food, his cells are doing it. Okay, so cell is everywhere. Okay, so you have to just understand that this is called as the cell theory. Again, Rudolf Virchow was there. He added what was being told by the other two scientists, which we have discussed just now. Rudolph also added to the previous discovery that cells, all cells arising from the pre-existing cells. How many cells are there? So with the help of different divisions, they're arising, they're coming, giving rise to pre-existing cells. Okay. Now, here we will see cell theory state three major points. So if from all the three scientists, first scientist told that it is actually performing all the basic functions of life. Then another scientist is saying, that is a German zoologist, is saying that yes, it is a basic structure and functional unit of life. And then Rudolf Virchow told us what he told us, that it is actually the, you know mm, that it is actually the like all the new cells arise from a pre-existing cells. So cell is the smallest unit of structure. Now, if I combine all the three things what we have got from the three scientists, we are going to say that cell is the smallest unit of structure of all living things. Cell is the unit of function of all living things, and all cells arise from the pre-existing cells. So cell theory is actually all the 3 points taken into consideration. Okay, so all these 3 points is necessary for a cell theory to stick. The first thing is that it is the smallest structural unit of life. I have told you why. So this is the unit of function of all living things. You also know that, and all cells arise from the pre-existing cells. Okay. Okay. Now let's move ahead. So till now we were talking about cell theory, what it states. Now the question arises that what does cell theory means? Let's see. So first is the structural unit, right? It was being showed over here that cell is the smallest unit of structural of all living things. So first is the structural unit, okay? First is the structural. What it states. See, here we can see that this is a leaf, right? And someone has said, like, German botanist, German zoologists, both of them have said, each and every structure of plant or organism, animal is forming, is taking, is made up of cell. So if I normally think, if I normally just see, because I can see over here, it's a leaf, right? So if I look the portion of a leaf under microscope, what I can see something like this. It is really observable, right? I am just taking this picture from Google, but actually I have seen this under the microscope. So it actually looks like this. Okay, so normally what you will do, what we do is that, few, I mean, like not now, I think around 11 or 12, if you have take biology. Because I have done this in my college time. I was supposed to take a Rio leaf and I have to just take its pinkish side. Why? Because pinkish side is really, highly observable under the light microscope. So when I took it, some of the green side also came and it actually looked something like this. So these are the cells, this is one cell, this is two cell, three, four, a portion of cell it is shown. So what we can do, a lattice, many cells coming together forming a compact structure and giving rise to this leaf, right? So each and every structure is formed with the help of a cell. Hence, we call it as a fundamental structural unit of life, right? So a lot of cell coming together is forming a tissue. A lot of tissues coming together is giving rise to this leaf. Okay. Now here we can see the functional unit. Okay, so we can see the frog is literally moving from one place to another, right? Again, another one is that we can see over here that it is actually, what to say, this is actually a chloroplast. Okay, so in the chloroplast, this photosynthesis is taking place. Okay, so you can see the light is moving, right? In this picture you can see that the light is moving, thylakoid like structure is there, light is taking place, they are giving and taking few of the stuffs. Okay, so this is about photosynthesis and this is about the movement of frog. Now why I'm showing you this picture is because it is actually showing the functional unit. Cell is the functional unit. Why? Because any function in the body of an organism or plant is due to the activity of a cell. Okay, because plant needs sunlight. Okay, then oxygen. Okay, then what else? Sorry, sun needs sunlight, carbon dioxide, water to form glucose, which is their food, which is their energy. So sunlight, how is sunlight going inside? So they are trapping it. See, there is an exchange of sunlight is going on. See, exchange of sunlight is happening, then a constant movement of all these things from one to other. Okay, so these are all happening because there is some activity going on in its cells. Like for example, what movement of the frog is due to the contraction of muscle cells. Because it is being constructed and it is being like relaxed, his movement is able to be done. In plant, photosynthesis occurs in leaves. Okay. Then is that all life starts as a single cell. So the life of a plant started as a seed. Okay. So whenever you try to sow a seed in the earth, it will start forming different seedlings, then plant, and if you just put it in some other places, it will definitely give rise to a tree. Okay, the seed had an embryo which all started as. So each and every seed, right? We from how a plant is arising, a plant arises from a seed, right? So seed is something like which has an embryo, which is actually consists of a single cell. So you can see over here it is showing that how this seed is forming a seedling, right? So from a single cell, they are giving rise to multi-cell. Okay, so cells die and are replaced. So the body of an organism or tree is formed of million and million of cells, because in just a small part of the leaf, we have seen there are so many cells under microscope. Now if I talk about the entire tree, you can understand that there will be a million and trillion billions of cells. So many of the cells die continuously. Of course, you can see bark of the tree. You can see the cork, the brownish part of this of the plant, which actually what happens, like if you go near a very old plant, you will see that whenever you try to just put your hand, it becomes so rough. It just comes, it is so, what to say, so fragile. If you just touch it, it will just come over your hand. So yeah, that is what is saying that many of the cells die continuously. So it doesn't mean that the cork is becoming like its life is over, it is just falling down. It doesn't mean that beneath it there is no other place. Beneath it also there is forming new cells. Okay, new tissues are being formed. So of course, so new cells are always formed by division of younger cells, and the previous one gets died and are being removed continuously. Okay, so now here we will talk about cells, how numerous. So how many cells we can see, how we will divide the cell according to the number of cell it is having. So we can say that larger an organism is, higher will be the amount of cell, right? If I talk about me and if I talk about a single rat, the number of cells in my case will be higher, right? And in case of a rat will be much smaller. So the complicated the organism is, the complicated its cells would be. So here we can see about a single cell. So it is made up of, these are the kind of organisms which is actually being made up of single cell, are made up of single cell. If it's bacteria, yeast, or amoeba. So you can see the picture of bacteria over here. This is a single cell. You can see this is a single cell. See, this is a single cell. See, this is again a single cell. See, this is a single cell. Okay, so these are all the single cell. What about few celled? So few celled in some of the species are small but made up of few hundreds or thousands of cells. Some of the species are small, made up of few hundred or thousand of cells. Okay, so first we have talked about single cell. Now second we will talk about an organism which is having like 100 to 1000 cells. Okay. So what are these are said to be the spirogyra. Okay, you can see like how they are just like a very elongated structure being divided. Okay, yeah. So these are all the cells. Okay, this is spirogyra, again a very this like structure, circle-like structure having a lot of cells inside it. Then is coming the multi-cell. So most of the plants and animals, like including ourselves, are consist of, I've already told it, consist of millions and billions of cells. So these are actually example is a human being. Now the question comes over here, the size or small. So the smallest cell, of course, the bacteria. You can see that they have already measured it. So it's like, this is 5 micrometer. The bacteria is actually. Okay. Then is the longest cell. So longest cell is a nerve cell. Okay. Longest. कितना लंबा है एक cell. So it is actually the nerve cell. You know, just imagine that from like just imagine a nerve cell starting from the fingertip up to the spinal cord and inside your backbone. So of course, a single nerve cell starts from this to that. Then is coming the largest cell, which is actually the ostrich egg. Okay. So ostrich egg before development begins in it. Okay. So before the development begins in it, it actually is having yolk and the white portion, that is the proteinaceous portion, and that is actually being called as the largest cell. And actually ostrich is even said as the largest cell. Okay. So here we will talk about why nature allows cell to be small in size. Okay, so what is happening over here is that I will just tell you to think about, you know, I hope you have learned or heard about movement, hand movement, right? Reflex action. So how these things are happening, right? You want to have a food, right? If you want to have a food, your saliva starts getting. So how these things are happening inside the body? It is happening because different cells communicate inside the body. So the smaller the number of the cells would be, the easier will be the communication between them. And the communication will also be rapid. Okay. Now suppose if there is one like needle under your feet and you're just pressing it. So what is happening? So suddenly we get a shock kind of stuff. Why is it that? So the whenever you are just doing it, the messages is being sent to the cell, sent to your brain that yes, you are just stepping over a needle. So of course, smaller the cell will be, it becomes easier for us to communicate. That a cell can communicate with each other so that you can just perform the action. Second is that cells have a large surface area by volume ratio for greater diffusion of substance in and out of the cell. So normally, the smaller the cells are, the greater will be its surface area by volume ratio. How we will see that? So in the left hand side, you can see that there is a cube, right? Orange cube. It's each and every surface is two unit. Okay. So it is actually having a total of 6 surface, and the area of each surface is 2 into 2, which is 4, and therefore for 6 surface it will be 4 6 are 24 square units. Okay. Now the question is coming. Suppose I am dividing this entire orange cube into 8 small cubes. Okay, you can see with the help of that green color thing. So once it is actually dividing the cell into 8 smallest cubes. So what is happening? This, what is happening when it is actually getting divided? It's each and the it's getting like the orange cube is getting divided into 8 equal cubes. In that case, its size, its length, its dimensions is getting halved. Therefore, if 2 unit was a dimension, and therefore the you may know the dimension of each cube, smallest cube will be 1. Surface area of each cube is 1 is to 1 is to 6, which is equal to 6 square units. 6 square units itself. And therefore, there is how many small, you know, if it is talking about one smallest cube. So one smallest cube, if I'm talking about this cube, right, total this cube. So it is having 6 square units. Okay. But here is a total of, why 6? Because it is one surface. So there is a total of 6 surface. That is actually covering 6 square units. Now there is a total of 1, 2, 3, 4. ऊपर में 1, 2, 3, 4 नीचे में. There is a total of 8 cubes. And therefore the total unit is 84 into 8 into 6, which is 48 square units. Okay. So we can see over here that in case of this one large cube, this surface area is 24, whereas the volume remains same for both. What is happening then? It is remaining 24. Now, if I am dividing it into smallest cell, then it is becoming 48 square, which is becoming, which is more, right? So definitely this is needed. Why? The smallest cells are needed. Why? Because the surface area and volume ratio is greater. and hence the diffusion of substance in and out of the cell will also be greater, and it should be greater, because if I'm having, like, if a person is just getting sick, sun sickness, all this kind of sickness happens, so he will not naturally will fall down. But once we are just providing him with glucose, it is rapidly waking up. Why is it so? Because glucose is entering into the body, and it is actually giving you the energy. Now the glucose is entering the body, the cell is taking that body and producing energy. It is happening in a very rapid manner. How it is happening? Because of the cell. And why it is happening? Because the cells are small, and hence the volume, surface area by volume ratio will be greater, and therefore diffusion of substances in and out of the cell will also be greater. Okay, so that was all for today's class. Thank you. I will definitely share the link of the previous cell wala video in the description box. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Thanks a lot, and see you soon with another fantastic video. Bye.